Bitch, stop playing with me.
I don't know why Spirit want me to grab this deck. I started to grab the money and job deck, but Spirit said that's not needed. Ten of Pentacles is here, the Seven of Cups, and the motherfucking Six of Wands. We don't need it.
Hey, Golden Tribe. Welcome in, my friends. Go ahead, hit that like button for us. Yes. Show Spirit some beautiful reciprocity for these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful details that you will be receiving in tonight's live, right? Because look at him. Not everywhere is they giving away information for free. So please give a warm welcome to our special guest of the evening. And again, everybody, welcome in, my loves, to Soul Sage Sundays right here on the Golden Goddess Tarot. You know how we do. We feeding the tribe with good soul food. Now, over the last few weeks, you have met another special guest, aka our beautiful mama, auntie, cousin, sister Shan. Okay, tonight we are introducing you to our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul brother. Yes, Evolution Doula, aka The Light. So I will let him introduce himself, but tonight's topics will be about Sage and Shadow. So for those of y'all that made comments who are subscribers and you've hit that join button right below somewhere, go ahead, hit it, choose a tier. Yes, because eventually we would like to take care of our brothers and sisters that come by, right? So with that being said, for those of you that have chosen a tier, I appreciate you for all of your support and hitting that like button, sharing with a friend, my loves. Shout out to all the moderators for what they do. And today is season 1, episode 4 of Soul Sage Sundays. So everybody, welcome in my beautiful soul brother, Evolution Doula, aka The Light.
Hey, y'all.
Hello, Bug. I am glad to see that you are home with us. Yes. So everybody make sure you say welcome home. Evolution Doula down in the comments. Ashe. I appreciate y'all for doing so. Such a beautiful soul. I met The Light, aka Evolution Doula, whichever you'd like to refer to as. I met this beautiful soul at a shop. I went to Henderson, North Carolina one day. And I was transporting a patient and I walked into the shop. I Googled it and I was like, because y'all know everywhere I go is a backpack moment, baby. Okay, hit the like button. And I turned around and I said, you know what? I'm going to Google metaphysical shop in Henderson or near me. And Juice and More popped up. And when I walked in, I saw this beautiful ray of light sitting next to me here. Yes. Surprise. You know what I'm saying? And I've loved it ever since. We ended up holding hands and skipping across the streets. Yes, sharing illuminations together about each other. Yeah. And so I will let Evolution Doula tell us more about who he is and being the owner of On Purpose and what On Purpose is. Ashe.
Thank you for such a warm welcome home to Soul Sage Sundays. Feels good to be home. And just a little bit about me, Evolution Doula, Darrow Taylor, or The Light, if you will. I'm a little Black boy from Oxford, North Carolina. which is next door to Henderson, where I met Goddess here. And so I have feel like I've been around the world twice, 3 times maybe, and Spirit said it was time to come home. And I've done things that I never thought I would do, and uh, ran the streets of New York City. Literally, I was chief of staff and administration, New York City Department of Transportation. Mouthful, right? um, and like on billboards and all these things that like I never wanted to do, never had an inkling to do, but had the delight in doing. And now it was time to come home and nurture my roots, if you will. And before I decided to descend New York, I created On Purpose. And that journey of me finding my peace, my centering, my all, if you will, which represents the Om, if you will, all creative, the frequency, the sound, and my purpose. I had found it. And that was just to be free, to be loving, to be me. And so here I found the Goddess as I was doing just that. And we clicked. And here we are on stage.
Yes.
So nice.
That is so true, so true. I see everybody saying, welcome home to you, Ashe. Yes. Everybody being so welcoming and warm. We greatly appreciate all of you for doing so. Ashe, Ashe. Shout out to the Golden Tribe for such beautiful vibes. Yes, hey Jess, welcome in Denise. Glenna, good to see you, Bookie Boo. Been a long time, missed you. Everybody speaking to everybody. Hey, sweet Damali, welcome in. Thank you for coming over from you, TikTok, right? So I appreciate all of y'all for just coming to where we are and joining the content and more of the beautiful souls that I meet on this journey and seeing how the information differs and how you can take what you learn here with Evolution Doula and mix that with whatever you learn somewhere else. But it's about finding what's aligned to you. And on Soul Sage Sundays, we talk about healing, we talk about the journey, we talk about everything surrounding and aligned to it. Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
So with that being said, let's talk about our first topic and dig right on in. Let's talk about sage, the word. So it has more than one meaning. Y'all heard me say this before. So I'm going to let the Evolution Doula give us the perspective that he has as a world-renowned traveler, clearly, and someone who has been on this journey, learning a lot and exposing himself into the environment and immersing himself into different practices.
Thank you. And obviously, this is a shared stage. So hop right in and please. I mean, we talked a little bit about this, and I just want to start off like this is saging, the space and the container you've created for Soul Sage Sundays is the sharing of knowledge and wisdom, if you will. That's one way of saging, turning it into a verb, sage. Is a title, a status, sage, if you will. So thank you, Goddess, for creating this space for us to sage in. Another quick example, I think that most of us may be familiar with here at this platform, but not all, is, and I don't have it with me, which is sage that you burn, that you use to cleanse the air, the environment, auras to heal. There you go. Yay. And then in sage, as it being an herb that you cleanse with, you also can use rosemary, lavender, and so many other herbs that is also considered saging. I use Palo Santo as a part of my saging. I don't turn it into a verb, Palo Santoing. I just say saging and lighting it and let it clear the air, if you will. And then sage, as I said, is also an herb that we cook with that complements poultry and fish very well to the tongue, taste buds. And then you have the magical properties of sage, and then you have the healing properties of the herb sage, in which the healing we've talked a little bit about, and in the clearing process, right? How it clears and purifies. And that's also one of the major magical components, if you will. It will wipe out negativity, including the negativity that's in us that we need to function as balanced, centered beings. So that's why I don't use sage that much unless I really need it, because it will wipe me out. And I have plans, and I'm like, let's go, Rika, meet here, there. And then next thing I know, like, can we do that later? Because I need a nap. So yeah, and I put some sage from my little herb box in my stuffing that I made tonight for dinner, as just a little way to heal when I cook.
So let's talk about sage as in cleansing energy, right?
Mhm.
So I agree with everything you said. I think we gave very textbook definitions of sage. We all know that sage is an herb that you can use, but there are different things that you can sage with when using it from a spiritual perspective for cleansing energy, right? For example, like the lights mentioned, when it comes to saging, as in the actual herb sage, right? That is going to clear out just about anything. You want to open your windows when you use that in your house, okay? And burn something sweet at the same time. I would suggest that, but you do it however you feel is aligned to you. I'm just saying, if you use that in the house and it runs everything out, it just runs into a corner if you don't open the windows. So with that being said, you can use other things. Like one of my favorites is a cinnamon stick. Cinnamon is great for protection. Cinnamon is great for clearing out negative energy as well, and bringing in abundance. And it smells sweet. I like the smell of it. It reminds me of a pie, pumpkin pie. You know what I'm saying? Sweet potato pie. I eat all of it. I'm from North Carolina, so hey, we eat all that. We put pecan pies, and you put nutmeg and cinnamon and all that shit. That's what I'm saying. On top of that, you can also use dragon's blood sage, which people like to use as well. Very powerful, but doesn't quite run out your ancestors and the positive energy. So I can burn it by itself. And the way that I started to learn about different types of sage, I also have Aruba Santo here. And to his point, several small pieces of Palo Santo. Because I stay saging and clearing out my energy, especially as I do reads. But when we talk about all the different things that you can use to sage, you can use pine needles. People don't know that. You can use just about anything. The word sage, when it comes to clearing energy, juniper as well. So if you have a juniper tree anywhere, grab you some, baby, burn it. And the great thing about saging is you can go and get this stuff out of your yard. You can go to the woods, to a park, get these things, bring them home. You can stop along the road, pick it up. You see what I'm saying? It's great. You don't have to go out and buy it all the time. You just dry it out and burn it. You see what I'm saying? Absolutely. With that being said, the way that I started to learn about different types of sages, just to give you an idea of how you can teach yourself, right? Because I was pretty much self-taught for a while. But you go to these shops and they have details about it on little cards. You take pictures of the cards. You Google things like spiritual properties of saging or different herbs I can use to sage energy. But the light, tell us about how you learned about saging. For me, it was just going in random stores and figuring it out.
Well, in getting there, I want to say two things. On the cinnamon sticks, if you can, get the Mexican cinnamon. It's very much thinner. It's actually real cinnamon. The cinnamon that we buy in the grocery store is this thick bark that is like very hard to burn and full of dyes. And it's much cheaper from the Mexican, the little packages, if you will. And it will smell so much sweeter and taste so much sweeter. Yes, cinnamon. That's one thing. And then also when you're Googling, be mindful of the source. If you're wanting some spiritual sage of your knowledge transfer, if you will, I wouldn't use, say, USA.com.
No.
Right? Or, Newsweek.com. That wouldn't be my go-to reference place. if you will. So make sure you're mindful of that process, or mindful of that in the process of doing your research. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to ask when you go into the stores. That's how Goddess and I met, because we spoke. We weren't afraid to speak. And when you're vulnerable, oftentimes you meet vulnerability, and you'll be surprised of the downloads that will come your way just by simply asking. So that's that. How did I come about saging? Um, I was in New York City, and I was dating this. I wouldn't even call it dating. I was with this guy.
We call it dating.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it that. And I mean, I was a New Yorker. And he was very spiritual and always burning something. And so just that introduction of it burning in his home led to an inquiry, me asking what I just promoted, right? And then it led to me finding and doing it in my own time with my own understanding and clarity. Like, I just didn't go do it because this person was doing it, right? Like, it had to sit well and have discernment with my spirit, if you will. And so that started that journey, and then it wasn't foreign to me going, because I had gotten into crystals. So I saw and knew that saging was a part of the cleansing process with crystals, but I didn't apply it to the overall experience of my life until much later. And then as I grew further and as I was traveling, especially out west, I stopped and picked it for myself and dried it out and used it. So, yeah. And I just knew it to go on chicken. Like growing up. Isn't that crazy? And then it does all these other things. And so I'm so glad that I asked.
And you know what? I think what people forget, because this is a journey of self-discovery, it's important to just ask questions. Like, I think we grow up in institutions or constructs, right? And within processes that teach us, oh, you have to do everything a certain way and not question it. If you're not asking questions, baby, we don't know what the hell you're doing. Because I wants to know. Because if it ain't sitting right with my soul, if I can't comprehend it, baby, maybe I don't need to be fucking with it. I think that's just a reality when it comes down to it. And so cleansing yourself is such an important thing to do, especially for those of y'all out there that are watching that want to become tarot readers. Both of the doula and myself pull cards for people. I've seen him read for folks inside the shop. He's seen me read on live for people. But, and matter of fact, he's actually the one I told y'all gifted me this beautiful deck. If you missed it on TikTok, baby, go follow me over there, the Golden Goddess Tarot on TikTok. We had us literally a coffee date at Starbucks where we sat and just pulled cards and spoke to each other and did a little shopping, and swapped knowledge. And it was such a beautiful experience to be out in the open as spiritual people, not trying to have little whispers of conversations about shit, So if that, hopefully that inspires y'all to live out loud when it comes to this, but also to take the spiritual journey very seriously when it comes to clearing out your energy and making sure that you stay grounded. So when we talk about sage, the cleanse as a topic, the doula, I really feel like the most important part about this spiritual journey is staying grounded as you learn things so that you can use your higher self to have discernment, to use your intuition and leverage that in the right way. But what comes along with you having to open up yourself up to the things around you so that you can learn and absorb, you also have to constantly clear your energy. Saging just doesn't come in the form of burning something. It comes in sitting and stewing in something like a spiritual bath. It comes in creating steam in a shower and using herbs, the steam and the herbs to kind of mix together to create that aroma and give you that feeling and effect. And it carries into the moisture that touches the skin. How else do you sage?
I drink sage. You want a good feeling. You want a good, like, just refreshing feeling. Sage, a cinnamon stick, and squeeze some fresh lemon and fresh orange, and just drink that. Oh my God. Right. So that's one way, through tea. And in tea, and I just want to say, in a lot of these things, you said something about like show up out loud. And I just want to add one word to the end of that: show up loud authentically, right?
Yeah, live
Because
out
that's
loud.
where the magic happens. When you show up out loud, if you're intentionally trying to be in someone's face, right? If that's the energy, you may get some blowback. You have to be prepared about that. But if you're just being yourself authentically, you'll meet your magic moment.
So the doula said, okay, so let me back up and make sure I say this right, because live out loud, right? And the doula, when I was in the shop with you, this deck came out, right? What is it?
The goddess deck?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where that comes from. So just for those of y'all that's watching that are new to the tribe or have never seen this card, Live Out Loud is a card that encourages you to be authentically yourself out loud. It's not enough to think it. It's not enough to say things to people, oh, I'm spiritual. You have to live that. When we say walk that walk and talk that talk, that's living out loud.
Mhm.
So just to be clear, we're not saying stand on top of a table and yell what you feel to people. We are saying take action in living authentically in alignment with what you believe as you walk the spiritual journey. And that will change. The way you walk
Yes.
and talk will change.
Yes.
So you have to own that as well, that as I learn new things, I may figure out that other things better align to me. Right. So I just want to make sure y'all don't think that I'm saying stand on top of the table. Don't do that.
No. Just like, and just to put a little bit more clarity on that, I'm a word and energy acknowledger, if you will. And so I was just complimenting and making sure that I know what Goddess was saying, and I wanted to make sure that the audience knew that. Because we have people that know as we sage, and you reminded me that, I think yesterday or the other day when we talked about, like, everybody doesn't know, and I'm like, yes, you're right. And so I look at life with complementary lenses, as a part of my understanding duality, if you will, not as like competitive or anything like that. And so it's because the universe is so big. It's yes and, right. It's like very little no's. It's yes and, because it's perspective and experience, and we need each of our experiences shared to have the best understanding of this place and space that we occupy. And I don't want to lose the question that you had asked.
You didn't. Actually, that was a perfect segue into our next topic.
Okay, perfect.
So with that being said, the next topic that we wanted to talk about is shadow work. Because we talk about cleansing our energy, and some people have, and I've noticed this, they think, well, if I sage myself and burn these here candles, I have done the work. Some of it, you've done some of it. Ashe, my grandma called it evil. I told her if she could explain to me how exactly crickets. Let me tell you, people are going to have different perspectives, and that's why it's important. The more you know, the more you grow, and the more you can kind of help others. So, Jess, I feel you on that, baby. I saw Glenna earlier say that she burns jasmine. I love the smell of jasmine, by the way, Glenna, just so you know. But I will say, when it comes to shadow work, it's not enough just to sage your energy and think it's poof, be gone. It doesn't work like that. You have to cleanse your energy just to do the shadow work sometimes.
Yes.
So let's talk about shadow work and why it's important. And the light, I will let you take the lead first, as you are home. And welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I don't catch that rhythm. I wanted to say the other part of the question. I had lost my train of thought. and you were right that saging is not only burning. You can get essential oils um, uh, for aromatherapy just with the sage, and you can also add that to your bath. You can get food grade essential oils where you can use it for tea, in your teas and drinks and smoothies and things like that. So there are many different ways to find your way to saging, and I invite you to explore what we've shared and beyond, and comment other ways that we may have not omitted, again, because sharing is caring, each one teach one. um, Going back to what you said, like, yeah, people may think things are evil because they were taught that and conditioned that, and so how you carry these tools and how you use them will help change that narrative, because you are the proof, you are the light, if you will. And so you will change their perception. Give them a chance uh, to catch up with you, in a sense, in your journey, because we didn't wake up overnight and decide this, and we need other people ahead of us, and so we don't need to get insecure about where we are versus where someone else is, and that goes back to the complementary lens. Now I shut up, but that's very much a part of the shadow work, right?
It is.
Because the shadow work is your ego. Um, Shadow is a nice way of saying ego, or just facing your truth, right? Um, or facing the truth. Let me rephrase that, because it's not yours. It is the
The
truth,
truth.
right? And because we've made up stories for us to survive, our narratives, right? And that's part of the word energy, as I coach and work with people to evolve into themselves, is to be mindful of your words, because you reap what you sow. Life and death lies in the power of the tongue, right?
Yes.
And so much of the shadow work, quote unquote, is facing the stories that we've told ourselves to survive, and maybe thrive in our mind, if you will. Um, and the shadow work is not just for you per se, it is for your family, your generation. When you're talking about healing and facing shadows, it's not just about you, because you are me and we are all, right? We are one.
Connected. Yeah,
Yeah.
baby.
And so just remember that you are healing. You're facing the shadows of the land in which you stand on, in location, right? In space and time. So, you know, you don't get to escape shadows. Like, I don't do a lot of things that, people were like, live a little, but I feel like I'm living my best life, and I still get shadows,
For sure.
right? Because, like, you don't even know the lies you told yourself to survive.
No lies detected.
And we often don't listen to ourselves. We want everybody to listen to us, but we don't listen to ourselves. So therefore, the shadow is a way of, what is it? Roosters coming home to crow and all
Yeah.
this other stuff. Like, if you said this, if you said you about God, you love God, God gonna put you in a predicament. Like, bitch, where your faith at?
That part.
Okay. So when you
Well,
having a meltdown and all this, and God, 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 where was God? Where's God now in the face of your meltdown? Where's your trust? Where's your faith? Where's your belief?
that
Right?
part.
If you believed so much before. So the shadows are of our own making. The light that we call ourselves walking in creates shadows.
I often tell people that when I was growing up, they never used the word shadows,
Mhm.
right? The term that I would hear, because my dad's a preacher, is demons.
Mm.
A lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm battling my own personal demons." What they talking about is their shadow self the things about themselves that they don't really like, the things about themselves that they don't like seeing in other people, because oftentimes our relationships, the way that we meet people, the way that we interact, somehow, some way will always mirror our shadow side where we need to heal. For example, which is why I thought this was a perfect topic to talk about with you. The like, because when I first met you, I was sitting in the shop and there was a conversation, and the person was speaking, and everything in me just, y'all know how I do. Sometimes I come out the damn cage. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? And he's watching me. And y'all, if y'all can imagine, the light is very tall, right? And I'm standing on like a little ass pit bull. And as I'm about to like really school this person about what they're talking about when they talk about what a chakra is, he touches my shoulder and he goes, "Didn't I tell you you don't need to explain nothing to nobody? If you know what you know, you know what you know." And I was like, you know what? Woosah. Because he was so right. And that's why I tell y'all it's so important that on this journey, you have the ability to listen to the perspective of others and then leverage that to view your own situations, not to take on what they're telling you, but to see if there is some truth behind what they're saying, because the truth is where you want to kind of stay rooted, even with yourself. So the first time I had to do shadow work, y'all, I cried. So me walking into the shop and the light saying to me, "Hey sis, remember who the fuck you are." And he's not the first one to do it over the last 4 months. It reminds me that even though we go through the shadow work and we learn these things, we have to be reminded. We have to be reminded. And I will let you take it from that. I just had to tell that story because that thing touched me.
Well, I was just going to say that, like, my business on purpose, right? I was looking for a slogan for it, and like nothing was working. And then it came to me, like, and we think about the hierarchy of needs psychologically,
Maslow's hierarchy.
right? We need love. I mean, we need well-being and belonging, right? And nothing creates well-being and belonging like we do.
It's true.
Right? Like myself. If I want to belong, I create a space for belonging that I can consider mine, if you will. And I live out of my suitcase, by the way, so I'm always creating little spaces that are mine. But they ain't really mine. That's another illusion, but we are not there yet. I don't even know what I was saying anymore. But basically, I don't know. I lost train of thought with that little side joke. Do you remember where I was, Goddess? Or anybody
Yes,
else?
you were talking about with you traveling the world and how you see shadow work and when you went on your journey and how that impacted you.
Oh yeah, like I'm gonna take it back to my roots again, how I started, right, and how Spirit brought me here. And you've shared with your audiences about your upbringing in the church, if you will, as well. And I'm an air sign. I'm a Libra, by the way, you know. So one of the things that stuck with me in the Bible was about God going up to the mountaintop to meditate, right?
Right?
And so that's one of the things that I sought to do, right? The other is like being with nature. I remembered also from my upbringing, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So how can I become one with nature now so that death is not a death? Right? It was about calibrating back to the oneness of everything, because life, this life that we live in, especially in the United States of America, has taught us how to look at things through a duality lens, right?
Right.
opposite attracts,
Right.
right? And so we've done so much to separate ourselves from ourselves, which is just love.
The tribe is wishing you happy birthday, by the way, love.
Oh, thank you. I just celebrated. Still celebrating. So thank you. um, and so the shadow is anything other than love.
Mm.
You will face it time and time again because that's our primal state of being. It's our primal language. And not until we come back into alignment with love will we not face as many shadows. But even then, it's a test of faith. How much do you love? Do you love enough to let go? My mama transitioned, right? And I
Right.
used to say this narrative, my mama died, I'm jumping in the casket because I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, but my leadership training taught me to ask, what is next all the time? What is next? What is next?
Okay. Now
Go
that
ahead.
right there was the sync, honey, because you said, "What is next?" So I've been talking to the tribe.
Mm-hmm,
So what the way that I came on this journey was different, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Completely different space mindset. I was getting certifications in what's called Lean Six Sigma, which is the
mm-hmm,
process of identifying waste and fixing
mm-hmm,
processes. Oh, I love it! It's beautiful. And so in what I did, I said to myself, okay, the way that I want to look at this is how can I reduce the waste and make change in my life to optimize myself? And
mm-hmm,
shadow work became a part of it. And one thing that I learned in lean methodology is asking yourself why 5 times,
mm-hmm,
at least, and each time coming up with a different answer and a different question to ask what to next to get to the
mm-hmm,
root of something, right? So we talk
mm-hmm,
about the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot of stuff underneath the surface, and that's what shadow work is about. And what you said was, I asked what.
mm-hmm.
Y'all, when he said earlier that you have to ask questions, that means including your damn self,
But who is yourself?
spirit,
Ooh.
everything else.
Right? We forget that. We forget we don't know who self is. And that therein lies the problem. We think self is this meat suit, but something is projecting a voice and using this meat suit.
Correct.
So knowing who you are is very important. Does
Just
that
say
make
why we
sense?
making her think this deep right now.
Because it's Soul Sage Sundays.
Love to hear that. But it is. Let me tell y'all why it's important to think this deep. Because you can't properly do shadow work and pull things up from the root. And that's one thing
At the
with the
surface.
light also being called the evolution doula. What he does is he pulls things up at the root. In order to do the shadow work, you got to get that shit at the root, which means you got to learn how to dig deep, get your hands dirty, get a little gritty, and not like it. Because I'm telling you, I cried the first time I realized that I had gotten out of a very dramatic relationship. And y'all, guess what? I was 75% of the damn problem. And it took for me to move out of the house with that person and get to myself to realize that I allowed a lot of things in on myself. And the reason why me and that person didn't work out, at least 50% of it had to do with what I was allowing from other people because I had people pleasing tendencies. I would let everybody and their damn mama come stay at the house. Oh, you need somewhere to stay? Bruh, okay, you and your girlfriend come. Now people are sleeping all in the damn living room. He can't use the bathroom in peace. You see what I'm saying? It was horrible, but it wasn't until I lived by myself. Because in order to do shadow work, you do have to do it alone. That doggone shadow journal, let's talk about it since we're talking about it. I don't have a problem with the shadow journal, but baby, how many times you gonna buy that damn journal? Because you're gonna need it. Because shadow work is continuous, like healing. You need shadow work to heal. It's continuous. So getting that journal one time is not gonna help like you think it is. You're gonna have to go buy another one the next time you trigger it and do it again. So you might as well learn. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and to that point, this is what I forgot to leave off. Well-being and belonging practice. It's about what we practice. Knowledge, if not applied, is nothing. What good does it do you? It gives you talking points to win arguments, but then what is that for, right? Like My grandma used to tell me, proof is in the pudding, sugar. And I tell my clients, let me see your footwork. I don't want to hear all this. Like, if you are doing the work, I will see you walk differently. I will see you talk differently. I will see you understand that your crown is on your head, so you will even hold your head differently. You will walk with balance.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't have to be said. You don't have to lead with who you are, because I know who you are because it's in your walk. Your light radiates. The darkness doesn't come before you, right? Your spirit does. Your aura, if you will.
I think that is a beautiful way of putting it, for sure. Ashay, that sounds familiar. Laugh out loud, baby. And it do, and that's okay. So let's talk about that, Nanny. Let's talk about that, Nanny. Welcome in, baby. Good to see you. Let me tell y'all something. I promise you, this entire journey, and I believe Evolution Doula, you said it earlier. You don't get to a place of knowledge by just collecting information from everybody and doing what they tell you. It's about experiencing. When you first came into this world, you did not learn how to walk by reading a book because your ass couldn't read. You learn how to walk by watching and doing the experience of walking and falling. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole spiritual journey is about getting up, trying something, oop, it failed. Oh, I'm gonna go get me a white candle and try it again. Oh, that didn't work. I'm gonna go get me a black candle and try it again. And you try it until you say, you know what, I don't think this shit align to me, and you try something else. And when you find things that align, you expand upon it. You learn what you can about it. You become a student. So even though some of you will go on to be mentors and coaches yourself, you're still going to be in a process of forever learning, because a part of shadow work is, baby, learning about yourself and sharing some illuminations about yourself with your damn self. I'm going to leave it right down. I'm sorry, y'all go ahead.
No, don't be sorry. Like, keep being great, right? Like, because what you're saying is you don't know yourself. Right. Like, and we're constantly learning ourselves each day.
Every day.
Right. And if you're not giving space to that, then who the fuck are you really?
Ooh, you better talk about it. Because, honey, let me tell y'all something. When I say there's an episode, because we about to start having tribes, tribe movie nights. So it's virtual. Go on over to goldengoddesstarot.com and check it out when I post it tomorrow. But I'm going to post it on the community page. But we're going to have movie nights because we have to watch Lovecraft Country together. Because there is a episode where Hippolyta has a moment of name thyself. And so I was so inspired by this episode. And of course, this was years ago, that I'm actually building a boot camp around that. Because when I tell you at every stage in your life, every fucking year, every quarter, almost every month, you're going to rename yourself, honey. Because this whole cycle is about figuring out exactly who you are. And you got to remember, you've had so many lifetimes, so many experiences. You're always going to be discovering who you are at every moment of every day. But what you will find, to Nanny's point earlier about this sounds familiar, is that there is familiarity within the cycles. So you will run across people that think like you do, but it's also very different because of the experiences. So how is it, another part of shadow work is being inquisitive, right? Asking the questions. How is it that two people from two different walks of life came to some same illuminations about the same thing? It's because it's all connected, like he said earlier. So, Nanny, to your point, baby, yes, you have heard it before. Thank you for this wisdom, insight, and challenges. Baby, you are welcome to mine, because I'm telling y'all, let me tell you something, and I believe the doula can expand upon this. Part of the shadow work is realizing you be on these platforms getting reads. I believe me and the doula was talking about this earlier. And your ass wondering why the hell you can't call in there, soulmate. You wondering why your money's still locked the fuck up. Let me tell you why. Because you getting reads and nobody's telling you that you have to do the work. It's not enough to get the answers because the energy shifts. You have to do the work. You have to do the shadow work. You have to ground yourself. You have to meditate. You have to do yoga, whatever it is that you do. And on top of that, you also have to do shadow work and likely journal it out, because it ain't enough to sit around and think about the damn shadow work. I can tell you that shit. You need a book and a pen. Because you're not gonna remember it all. Ashe, welcome in, Michaela. I'll let you expand upon that.
So many things I want to tell you about one of my shadow moments, but you said it a lot in that last little segment, and I just want to just debunk one thing. They don't have to do anything. They would just
That's
keep
true.
repeating cycles, right? It would behoove them.
I cannot.
It would behoove them to do the work, right? Because if you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, that's insanity.
Cindy.
So I just want to call that what it is. You don't have to. You can lead a horse to water, but we can't make you drink.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you brought that up, Tribe. Ain't it funny how he's sinking with the sinks, babies? Okay, now listen. I said that one time to them, and I was talking to this dude. I'm gonna tell you now. Now, of course, he's much older than you and I. And he says to me, he's an elder in the community. He says, "You know, they say you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink." Just as that's the hard part. It's easy to watch readings and get hype and motivation. That's true. So that's why you also have to go in and enroll in shadow work boot camp or go over to On Purpose and find you a coach and put your money into that like you put it into them damn reads, because that's investing into you. And the next time, maybe you can read your own cards or you can fix your own, you know what I'm saying? Yep. But that's why you also make sure that when you allocate, y'all don't just go around paying for reads. On the website of many readers, they offer other services. I don't care if it's with me or anybody else, but invest in learning, invest in the courses, the workshops, you know what I'm saying? That stuff. Now, back to what I was saying, I seen just coming. I want to point that out. What the hell was I saying? Now, see, now I'm over here like you. Now I'm over here like you.
You were mentioning that.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, and I know it until you ask.
When y'all going over here and getting these
readings,
when you getting these reads, baby,
do the work.
You gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. You gotta do the shadow work. You gotta cry about that shit. You gotta snot at the nose. You gotta do the ugly face. All of that comes with the territory. Nobody goes through shadow work and be cute. If they do, I promise you they lying. Something ain't right. I promise you that. And to his point, you're right. You don't have to do nothing. I found my point. The elder in the community told me. The elder in the community told me, he said, you know, they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a drink. I said, yes, sir. That's what they said. He said, that's a lie. He said, how do you get a horse to drink? I said, well, I don't know. I guess you got to let him motherfucker get thirsty. You know, let him have some thirst. He said, give him salt. And I thought about it. On a horse farm, they have a salt wheel.
Lick.
So when the universe wants your ass to drink and you don't want to, see, me and the doula can't do it, but karma can whoop your ass.
Yeah.
It's going to get real salty. So if things start to get salty in your life, baby, I can guarantee it's because you're parched and you need to go sip on the water, the knowledge, the water. Okay?
Yes. And program the water, structure water. Eat your fruit, by the way. Structure water. Whole nother topic. We ain't going to sage you there tonight. I want to say that my one of my moments was very cute, I would say, in my shadow moment. It was me knowing my worth. And so much was happening that was coming in good. I mean, it was just little things, meeting people, just kind of like the narrative of who were my best friends were changing. That narrative was changing. And I had met a soul tribe, a familiar souls on this like journey that I was not prepared for, didn't know I needed. It was like this breath of fresh air that allowed and prompted like creativity and it was just beautiful. And I was like living out of my suitcase. I quit my job in 2021, and then I had started stressing a bit about my bank account had got low. So I was like, you know, I'm marketable for work. You know, I did some things.
Not familiar, y'all.
So I took this little Fed contract job. You know what I'm saying? Moved to DC for it because I had to go in twice a week. So I moved to DC, and as a part of me being in DC, my landlord worked for like special ops in the government and the military, and I had a housemate who fiance um, was a Secret Service agent. And I ain't anti Big G, but you know, I don't want you around me. I don't trust you. I don't know you. Like, I don't stay over there. Let me see you from afar. That was too close to home. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was just like a weird part of the narrative. But everything else was so aligned in small and big ways. And I was getting afraid because I was like, bitch, you about to die? Like, this shit is happening in movies. Like, it was just so perfect. Like, so when you say it ain't beautiful, it was so beautiful that it was fucking scary. Like, literally, like I became, and I had to remember to breathe. My practicing of breath. I had to like, okay, so a man thinking, so is he. No, you're living. Like, I was like, get right, like come into alignment. And so much so, I mean, I was dancing out in the middle of DC. I lived off of Pennsylvania Avenue. I was dancing outside naked on my back patio in the middle of these. Like, I was doing all these healing practices. And when I say it was just perfect alignment, I shouldn't have been in this house that I was in. And like, it was crazy. But I was there. And so it was all too good to be true. So much so that what that shadow was, I didn't understand my worth.
Mm.
And so God came to me in the shower and said, I done showed you I'll take care of you. You keep playing with me. You keep playing small, you're going to stay small.
Mm. Play small, you're going to stay small. Want to play in the
shadow? That's a shadow, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and when I say God, I mean source. It was a voice, a little still voice that came literally when I was in the shower. And I was like, is this the moment that I'm going to fall in the shower? Like, my mind was starting to go there, so I had to get out of the shower and breathe again. I had to walk and call my friend who I coach people. And I think I was sharing this with you this morning that a part of my coaching, I create this term. Not created this term, but like leverage this term called a shut the fuck up moment. And and I was so my friend and she had went through my coaching program, which is Unmask Yourself, by the way. Talk about alignment, right? She had went through this thing, and like her lesson was like, learn to shut the fuck up. But I knew that if I could call anybody, I could call her. She would pick up the phone. So I called her. I was like, I don't know if I'm tripping, but I'm real scared right now. And I'm just walking to get my breath because, like, what else do you do when this little still voice comes to you and tells you something that you can't deny? You know you're playing small.
You know what? You mentioned something and just said, God be talking just like that too. Let me tell you something. If God ain't cussing at your ass, I don't know who you talking to. I'll tell people I believe the spirit be cussing at me. Spirit, God, source, all the same. And a lot of times it sounds like you, but just still. Mm-hmm. It's very clear. It sounds like yourself, but it's not. Oh, rah, 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 rah. You need to get together. No, it's actually, hey, bitch.
The fuck is you doing?
Get your shit together now. Like, that's how it comes across. So when people say, oh, God don't talk to you like that, who are you listening to? Mm-hmm. I start to wonder, who are they listening to? Because when I tell you spirit, your ancestors, they speak to you in the language you understand. They are masters of communication, baby. They don't need to speak a whole nother language you do not comprehend. They are coming to you and speaking in languages and terms you understand. That's why when somebody says something, for example, when the doula says take off the mask, not everybody says it that way, but we know here on this channel we do. So him is home. You see what I'm saying? We know a lot of the things that he's mentioned tonight, we've said those same things, or it gives the same energy, or we feel aligned to it, him is home. You see, you see what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, as you go out and encounter people, just like he said, he just knew his soul tribe was coming. When you first embark on this journey and you do the shadow work and you get to that euphoric place or ethereal place that he was talking about, where you are standing on somebody's patio, booty ball, turkey naked, feeling the sun on your body, because I did it. I'm not gonna lie. If you ain't done it, baby, try it. It's
Do
a
it.
whole new
Don't try it. Do it.
do it. Do it. Do it. And to his point, y'all always know I'm big on the etymology of words. So it's certain words I don't use. And as you go along this journey, you'll meet people like the light, like Shan, who will bring another dynamic or awareness to you about some of the other words that you use. He's the second person in a month that's done got on me about the word trying. Because I'm not trying, I am doing. Because words carry a vibrational frequency. So as you go through this journey, you have to open yourself up to receive that feedback, 55, 1 o'clock, to accept it. That's a part of shadow work. If every time somebody tell you something, you like, no, that's not what I did. Really? Because I doubt you can see from inside that house. I'm on the outside looking in, and I can see all of that bullshit. See what I mean? See, what you do behind closed doors ain't hidden behind windows. And people can see through a window. Just like when I first met him and he told me, you don't have to explain yourself to nobody. What he was touching on was there's a part of me that was very defensive. And I believe you use that word, defensive. Because I would get defensive when people come. Y'all done seen it. I done cussed a few people out on this platform, told them get the fuck on before I jump through the screen. But you have to learn that you are defensive. And then I had to sit down and go, okay, why was I so defensive? Now I could just say, oh, it was because that man ain't know he was talking about that one. Why? It was literally because this masculine energy was really trying to tell me I didn't know what I was talking about. And he's a little bit older than I am. And I'm used to people who are senior to me trying to tell me what to do because they think they know it all when that is not the case. Because even at this gentleman's ripe age, I think both the doula and I can agree that we know what the hell he was talking about. I looked over at the doula and he was looking at me like, don't even say shit. Leave that alone. He right, but he just leave it alone. And I threw my hands up and walked away because you really don't know that people, they perceive it how they perceive it.
And sometimes you got to leave it.
That's right. They perceive it how they perceive it. Sometimes you got to leave it. It rhyme and I like it. There we go. There we go, baby. That right there was a channeling. Anytime it rhymes, it's a channeling.
Yes.
Damani says, I believe divine speaks in 3 voices: a whisper, a low, strong tone, and a 2x4. Goddamn.
Tower moment.
She just said spirit was slapping a squirrel. Because slapping a squirrel will get you with that 2x4. But Damali, that is the funniest thing. You're right, Damali, because when spirit say sit down, you better sit down, baby. You better sit down all the way. I'm listening to because I have been reacting to too many 2x4s.
My grandmother used to ask this question because I didn't like school. I didn't know why. Now looking back, it was because it wasn't truth and it didn't resonate with me. But she used to ask me this question. They called me a professor as a child. At like 2 years old, they were calling me professor. But she used to ask me when I got home from school, boy, you got your lesson? Yeah, Grandma. Ready to go outside and play. I ain't think about no damn homework, right? But that question now is so a part of my work, asking people, have you got your lesson? Right? Because what she was asking me was about school and about, passing my grade in a sense. But the question now is, are you going to choose to live? Are you going to choose to thrive? Or are you just going to survive? Because the lessons are there for us to achieve, for us to surmount for us to get to the other side, right? They weren't designed because we weren't equipped to meet that expectation. They were designed because the expectation is that it is known that we can meet it, but it's about us having the confidence, the stillness, the patience, the virtues, if you will, the love to actually achieve the lessons. And so you basically have to be, you don't, here you go, got me saying have to be. See, words are energy and they're contagious.
And they are.
They really are. That's why the English language is so successful. That's why we've been asleep for so long. It's about remembering breath. We talked about spirit here today. It is said that spirit is synonymous. I can't even say it. Synonymous. Thank you, spirit. With breath.
Yes.
Yeshua. Yahweh. Right? And spirit goes before you. And all the more reason in understanding who you are. Because if you don't get to the root of who you are, going back to the chakra conversation, right? Trauma is stored at the root. And it is very difficult for you to have your chakra centers, which are energy centers, open if you haven't visited your roots and cleared out that trauma. And it's constantly letting go of trauma because, right, you don't know what happened. You don't remember, right? Your body remembers, but you don't remember. Your body is a recorder, if you will. And because you are a body of water. So your body and your voice and all the voices around you is a vibration. And so your body is constantly recording everything that has happened to you.
Constantly. Hair follicles and all.
Yeah.
And I say that because you said something that made me tear up. So I was fighting back tears for a second. You said that you have to choose to live. I remember when I was in my 20s, I had just graduated college. And by then I had pretty much stopped going to church and had embarked on this whole spiritual journey, or an extension thereof, right? So getting to the next phase of it, because I had been on it since birth, really. And I asked my mom in the car one day, it was me, her, and my grandmother, a few years before my grandmother passed away of cancer. And I said to my mom, I said, have you ever been happy? And she looked in the mirror of her trailblazer and she said, nope. 6 kids, a faithful wife, and you've never been happy. And it dawned on me that happiness is such a choice. And from that moment, I realized a lot of the trauma that I was facing or was going to face as I moved throughout the stages of my life were recorded in her DNA, my father's DNA. I literally, when I was in college, realized that I had to be the generational curse breaker. That's why he's saying it goes further than just your lifetime. Your shadow work, you committing to that impacts your kids, kids, they kids, all the ancestors behind you and the ones before you. You see what I'm saying? It impacts them all because I literally found, and I guarantee you, if you sit down and talk to your parents or recall conversations where they talked about their past, you lived some of those same experiences. So at a very young age, I realized I have to do the opposite of what they did in order to keep it from happening to my son. When you are chosen, or when you are the light, or when you are the carrier, or the griot of your bloodline, the Akashic record holder, that is your job. So when people are walking around in their shadow work going, I'm the chosen one, I'm protected. Let me tell you something about that. When you are chosen and protected and you don't do the shadow work, you can cool believe you're going to be the one that sat down the hardest. You will get it. You will hit rock bottom so hard, it'll make your head spin. Trust me, honey. I've been there. I've done that. I've tried to live the way other people told me to live. I tried to do what everybody else was doing. And every time I did, I got slapped by a damn 2x4. every time. Every time. At one point, I thought Spirit would slap you the fucking squirrel. I'm telling you. Car broke down on the road next week. Somebody stole that motherfucker off the side of the road. Sold the car to a lady. Lady took the car, hawked it for parts, lied and said somebody stole. And I kept going through cycles of loss after loss after loss until recently this year when the contract ended. I've not had a contract, y'all. What y'all see me doing is how I make a living at this point. For 6 months, I have not freaked the fuck out once. When back in the day, baby, I'm telling you right now, I would have put together a master damn plan, and some shit would have been going would have been going down to pay these bills. At this point, when you get on your spiritual journey and you open yourself up to the shadow work, when you have these tower moments, when you have these moments where things fall the fuck apart, you don't handle them the way that you used to. And I think to what the light was saying earlier, where I feel aligned to your message is that's the beautiful part. The after the storm, the after change, the after the shadow work, because you realize how bright your light truly is after you complete stages of shadow work. Hey, Michaela. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that because you brought up a very good
No, it was beautiful, and I would say that it can be beautiful in the process, right? Because now, like I know, oh, this is a test, but I know all things work for my greater good, right? I know that Spirit went before me and prepared the table. That's what I took from my upbringing, and so when you not only know these things, but you actually believe them, it's an opportunity for you to choose what you believe, right? So you can continue to be on the repetitive cycle of doing and not getting your lesson, right? The hamster on the wheel. You said Slappy the squirrel, but I'm just saying hamster on the wheel, right? Like you're having the time of your life doing the same shit over and 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 over again, right? Not I, said the cat. Like people used to call me lazy. You can call me lazy, but I'm not into doing a whole lot of trying. I want to do it right the first time. I want to clear the goal and move on. like, why am I just gonna just? It's like loitering. Like, why? Like let's do something with this energy, and so that's why the work or your practices is so important. And practices make perfect. If you look at Kobe and Michael Jordan and all of this, few people get to that level because what? They don't do the work. They don't put in the practice. They don't believe that they are the GOAT. They're still seeing Michael Jordan and LeBron James as the GOAT, right? Not themselves. And almost all of what we are saying here is that your belief system is going to be tested, right?
Yes.
Period. So you can walk around and say whatever you want to say. And you can tell when the storms come, baby, because you see Facebook, you see the meltdowns. I
was just talking about this earlier, y'all.
Get like on the social media, you see the meltdowns, right? Get your popcorn, right? Because if you've been doing your practices, right, you don't have to. Someone else's tower moment doesn't have to be as towerous as theirs, because you reap what you sow.
Woo.
So if you out intentionally doing shit just for kicks and giggles, your shadow becomes that more greater to face, because you're really only acting out because of fear or anger anyway, and fear is anger aloud. And so the root of it, going back to a second, grandma to get that root or that weed, unless you want to keep pulling it up out the garden.
That part. That part, and I agree. Michaela says things don't happen to me; they happen for my greater good, and
Yes.
that's what I believe. That's what the light is exactly saying, Michaela, in alignment with what you just said. Is that that's how you find the beauty throughout the shadow work.
Mhm.
You realize that this isn't happening to me; it's happening for my greater good, or it's happening as I have said for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So the times I was walking up Summit Avenue in Greensboro, North Carolina, looking for change to buy a motherfucking taco from Taco Bell, there was some beautiful moments in there. Cause I found more than 45 cents. You know, you know what I'm saying? Did I see it that way? Hell no. Instead of getting that one taco, baby, I had 3 tacos. You know what I'm saying? Did I look at that shit that way then? No, ma'am. I was mad as hell about them puny ass tacos with that dog meat in it. Cause I don't like Taco Bell, but you know.
Can I share with you
No.
that also, like you said this without saying it so many times. What's really called for in shadow work is reflection.
Mm.
So the more you can sit and reflect, that journaling, just if you're doing it in a daily practice, weekly practice, whatever, the more you create space to reflect, the more the shadow moments or the tower moments won't be so hard because
Yeah.
you're having the time to look back. And I'll throw this other thing in, Goddess, just because I am who I am, and I might as well keep on being it.
She said, hold up, before you proceed, Jess says, I feel like I should be paying for this knowledge. I'm very fortunate to get all of this info for free. That part, baby. You
and
heal.
you're worthy of that.
Yes.
And if you feel so called, like, donate, right, so that we can continue to do this for free, um, because that's giving is receiving, if you will. It's the
Reciprocity.
oneness of the energy, right? I'm happy to do this. I love doing this. I love sharing because in the posture of sharing, I learn so much. Right? I
Mm.
didn't know what the hell I was going to come on here and talk about. Like, if I let my nerves get the best of me, right? Like, if you get in your head instead of in your heart, if you will, you won't know the way. But I'm more than prepared for any moment. I just have to be patient. I have to trust. I have to remember my breath. Again, here go all these have tos. Now I gotta go do some more work. Because I'm using not too many have tos. Because and this was to my point though. Words carry energy. So when you
Yeah.
say have to, you're adding weight to your shoulders. That's probably already tense. Right, your body is taking that as, oh hell, there's something else this bitch been planning for me to do, and you know you got a list that you don't even remember already. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you gonna stop?
That part.
Right, that's one thing. And then the other thing, another word that carries such a visceral body response, and God, as you were using it a lot, is the why. When you in trouble, the first thing your mom you say, why the hell you do that? And you like, I don't know. You freeze up. You better get your ass whooped, right? So it becomes your body remember those moments. And so that simple word, such as why, creates your body, this moment where your body shuts down or your amygdala is reminded and becomes hijacked again. Right. And so in my world, if you will, we can find out the why by taking a mindful moment to ask the 4 WH questions. Who, what, where, when, and how will tell you the why. And that's a way that you can be more empathetic when you're responding to someone, because it's not just that today I was, let's say I was late, which I was a little bit, but I was also, like, a part of my lateness was because I was in pain and like trying to do multiple things to still show up and hold this space. Right. And so because God knows me and I'm at home, if you will, and familiar with the spirit, she knows that that was a little bit unlike me and gave me the benefit of the doubt. right? And when you ask, instead of asking why, because it's accusatory, if you're wondering what circumstances led to me to be late, that's automatically giving me the benefit of the doubt versus putting me on the spot.
And I think what I love about what you stated is, and it's something I don't think I've ever gave clarity to for this tribe. It's really part because nobody's ever asked, and I never really thought that it needed clarifying. But I always ask myself why, because I'm a believer that, okay, it's kind of like when you break a leg, right? You have to go to therapy and you have to walk on it, and that shit hurts. Oh, it's painful. I'm sure I've seen it. It looked like it hurt. I'm empath. So every time I used to watch somebody try to walk after they couldn't walk for a long time, it just looks so painful. Like it's just excruciating. And for me, asking myself why became easier because it was a part of my shadow work. Now, to his point, if you ask another motherfucker why, they're not going to react that way. So I'm going to retract something and say, when we do shadow work, you ask yourself why. Okay? Don't be running around.
Be careful with that, though. If you're not healed, goddess, if you're not healed, you could be keeping that wound open that you're trying to close.
That's true. So in that case, what we're gonna say to y'all is, okay, we're gonna double back. What we're gonna say is ask yourself why if you can handle it.
Yes.
If it's not aligned to you, don't do it. Stick with the what, who, the where. You know what I'm saying? The who, all of that.
The how,
but
all that.
Or the how. Thank you. If why triggers you, then we need to do shadow work around the word why, because then I want to know why the word why triggers you. That's a lot.
And I've already told you why.
Right.
When you're in class, if the teacher does something, it's why did you do it? The parent is why did you do it? We've even in psychology, like my undergrad is psychology, and it was all about the why, right? And it's also you're asking, studying psychology, you're asking people with pathological processes, right? That and disorders to tell you why, right? Like their narrative may not be true.
Yeah. So basically, asking somebody that's got that is bipolar why they did something may not make a whole lot of sense.
A lot of sense.
What we talking about?
And the therapist, right? When you go to the therapist oftentimes asks you why, and we tell the therapist what we want to know on the outside of the story. So it gives an easy way for a narrative to be continued for your safety.
That is true.
And I don't give you no easy way out.
No, I agree with that. Y'all, but y'all know I'm rough around the edges. I just say the fuck
why. Why the fuck why? Yeah. Because that's ultimately what you want to know that. I get it.
And ultimately, and see, the why is not the root cause to his point. That's why I asked 5 times. Does it take 5 hours to figure out the reason why?
To get to the point, yeah. So we're doing the same thing in a sense, right? Because you went through the 4WH.
So either way, use what fits. And that's why we keep saying there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's more about what aligns to you at that moment in time. Yeah. And that's why I bring people to this platform, because y'all, we're going to have some people that find this video, they can't take me. Okay? Y'all know that. Motherfuckers come in here all the time. They can't. But that doesn't mean I can't provide them with resources. For example, I used to hear somebody in corporate always say, if I don't know something, I can at least point you in the right direction or find somebody that do. And that is really what being a teacher, a coach, a mentor, or a spiritual guide is all about. Is if I don't know the damn answer, I know somebody. I know somebody that do this shit backwards. Sorry, I know somebody that do. You see what I'm saying?
Been tripping me up all day.
I'm telling you, I've been like this several times.
I've been over here
several times. But Sweet said all of our shadow work is designed and aligned to each of us individually. 100%. That's exactly what we're saying. And it takes for you to interact with other people to understand how different folks, different strokes, right? You meet another spiritualist, Shan may say it a completely different way. Spiritual Teak might say it a completely different way. Or she might even give a different perspective. But that's the beauty of for example, the light evolution doula and I sitting at a table having coffee and playing with tarot cards and having just open, honest discussion that to what the light used earlier isn't defensive or competitive. It's community and it's union. You see what I'm saying? And so I was just telling him earlier today that there have been times on this spiritual journey where I've met other spiritualists. It does not feel good. It feels like you at church. And to me, that's a pure sign that if you feel like everybody has to do everything one way, you're still suffering from the institution of what you learned growing up.
Or the institution of control, the spirit of control,
that's a better one.
which is hurt. Like you're afraid to be vulnerable.
Yeah. I think that, oh, Sweet said we get to figure this out for ourselves. That is correct. Because I'm gonna tell you what I like about the spiritual journey, why I chose this path and why this path chose me. Because it is about personal divinity. Not divinity school, the construct, not divinity, the institution, but personal divinity. You see what I'm saying? One thing as a coach you learn is that if a person's not ready to hear it, they're not going to receive it. For example, I'm pretty sure the doula has really great discernment because not all the time does he engage with people's energy to tell them, hey, you don't have to explain that to nobody. But although other people in that room might have looked at me and thought, okay, she rah. What he saw was not rah. This is her natural response to bullshit and the bullshit because of what she's been through. So he knew, I guess, how to speak to that, right? It's no different than when I come across somebody on this journey who needs my help and I'm able to talk them out of whatever low vibrational energy there is, or raise their vibration, rather, not talk them out of it, but to help them raise their vibration. We all do it in different ways. And so it's not enough to just engage with one person. You have to engage and share illuminations about everybody and everything around you in order to really absorb what this spiritual journey is. And through the journey of discovery and finding you, I'm finding me. Half and half.
Period.
Y'all didn't
or,
know you
or the whole. It's the one. It ain't half and half. It's the one.
The one.
It's the one. Because you are me and we are the one, right? Like
no, half and half is the show. That's a song.
Oh,
this journey of discovery.
I don't watch TV, y'all, and I ain't really do it then either.
Have you ever seen that show?
I have seen it. It's
okay.
Is it Orlando Brown? Was he in it or somebody?
Was Orlando Brown in Half and Half, y'all? It was the light-skinned lady with the curly hair. I forgot her name, but she played on The Craft. She makes tarot cards.
I love her, by the way.
She made tarot cards, friend.
Really?
Yes, I've purchased a couple decks. I don't know where it is. I got a whole box of them somewhere in the house.
Okay. Please send me a picture later because I really like her. I love
it's in my
voice.
Amazon list, so I'll put this so you have a link to it. But she makes a whole lot of decks. And when I looked at that show and I thought about this journey, I found connections. Because the song literally says, through this journey of discovery, in finding you, I'm finding me. Mm-hmm. And we don't even think about it that way. Whenever you meet a soulmate, a twin flame, or a karmic or whatever, they are teaching you about yourself through the communication of interaction.
Anybody,
yeah. Anybody.
We have manifested everything, every interaction, right? Because it's only one here. There's only one of us here, right? And so everybody else is a hologram or is a reflection of me, right? Like God is everything that I love about her. It's in me. Like she is reflecting me, and everything that rubs me the wrong way about her also reminds me of me, right? A true reflection, because I've manifested that as a small, everybody you meet is a small shadow moment, how you receive them, if you will. And so that's why, like, everything is a choice. If I choose to focus on what I don't like about somebody, you keep finding that, right?
Because same thing with manifesting out of fear.
Yeah,
like when you constantly, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you Constantly think about what you don't want. You will manifest what you don't want.
Yep.
Yes.
And to that point where your attention goes, your energy flows, the number one economy is the attention economy. Even us holding this space right now,
That's
we're
right.
competing with so many for your attention.
That's true. Especially in the age of technology, baby. Everything moves
Yeah.
fast and everybody wants everything fast. Nobody really wants to learn.
But
They
even
want
before that, advertising, right?
that too.
The
That too.
programs that we watch in TV, programs, we were being programmed.
Jess says Jim's being dropped left and right. I gotta watch this again. I say, Jess, we glad you see it, baby. Glad you see it, because that's what we here for. That means we doing our job. We doing our job. We doing the good work. We're doing the good work. With that being said, y'all, I know we've been up here for like an hour and a half, and I know the light has things that he has to do, but I'm sure he will come back home and visit us again. Well, not visit because he would be home, but he'll come home to stay again. You know what I'm saying? And we know he live out his suitcase, baby, so we don't know how long he's gonna be around. But I'm gonna go ahead that part. I'm gonna go ahead and open up for questions. So if y'all have questions, go ahead and let them rip and let us know what you think. Or if you have questions about the journey, anything that's been said, or if you just have questions about the spiritual journey in general, please go ahead and drop those in the comments. Jess said, yes, please come back again. So I'm sure he will. Just we're gonna make sure he come back. He already know I drive wherever. We seem to like to pull up on each other from time to time. So if I can't find him here, I go to where he be at.
Pull up with no agenda. Like that was
That
the
part
beauty of it. Yeah.
was just to it felt freeing.
Yeah.
To just
to be.
do and be in the moment. Agree, 100%. Baby, them birds was hollering at us, and the light was like, "Look, I told you the bird got a message." I'm like, "Fuck that bird." The bird better shut the hell up. Like,
And that bird was like, "Say it again."
We in two different places in our journey. That is apparent. Yes. Sweet said, appreciate your time, the light. And just said, hold on, let me process all this info. Okay, baby, we ain't gonna just close the line on you yet. Okay, we're gonna let y'all process all that for questions. Because I understand, we get it. Shadow work, people, and that journal, y'all listen, I ain't knocking that journal. I ain't. But you have to understand that because shadow work is the never-ending story. This is the song that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my motherfucking friends. Like it never stops. And because of that, the journal's just the journal approaches a moment in time. It does not approach real time. So you have to learn to do the work in real time. Now, when I am triggered and somebody like the light comes and says, hey, you don't have to be triggered. You can choose not to fight. It reminds me of the ththings that I've said, y'all. I literally came back here that same day with live and said, y'all, the doula told me exactly what I be telling y'all. I didn't hide it because I'm not, though I know a lot. You know what I'm saying? I know a little about a whole lot of things. That makes you a jack of all trades. However, what it also means is that you don't know everything about everything. And sometimes you need a kick in the pants. You know, that's all.
No, you don't. You need a reminder.
Okay, a reminder.
Because it's about remembering.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like, and any sage, if you will, knows that he knows nothing at all.
Except for that lady with the journal. I'm sorry. Jess comment says, I know that lady makes bank off that TikTok shadow workbook journal. You ain't lying. Because everybody getting their mama got one.
And everybody is looking for a book. Everybody's looking for a way for it to be easier. The only way for it to be easier is for you to be one with it, for you to allow your lessons to come to you because you know you're enough. Yes. You know you're prepared. You know you're protected, right? And you know you're more than this meat suit, right? If you remember that you are a being, right? That you are spirit, right? Like, and this is temporary. This is what you get to observe your experience through the experiential, if you will, right? Remembering these things help you navigate a little bit lighter. right? Because I want to buy a whole lot of shit, but I can't because I live out my fucking suitcase. Okay, so I give a lot of shit away. You understand? And I could choose to do it with joy, or I could be like, oh my god, that, like I can't give that away. And so being able to love things enough to let go, including people, is also another huge shadow moment. And being so wise to know that you know nothing at all, that you are in a posture of learning, that you are in a receptive posture of learning, right? That you are a student of this life. And not just any student, you're the valedictorian because you're the
Yeah,
only one here.
agreed. That's a
And we have to
beautiful way of
trust.
looking at it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and we have to trust that we know the way. We have to trust ourselves. That's also a part of the shadow, right? Like being able to trust, because you done told so many lies about you that you don't even know the truth about you, or you done blew smoke up somebody's ass, your girlfriend ass, that dude ass, right? You done blew so much smoke up about how you are and who you are that
Mm-hmm.
it comes to a time where you have to face this thing and you realize that it's not a lie. It's not even divine.
Not at all. And I think what we have to remember most is that sometimes you just got to take a breath. For example, we have to be mindful of, and it's something that I've had the gift of experiencing lately more often. And a lot of people don't like it, but with shadow work, the more you do it, the easier it gets, right? So if you're actually doing the work, it just gets easy. When someone comes and says, hey, you're not doing XYZ, although you said you're doing XYZ, when the words and the actions don't align, that's how you definitely know you need to do some shadow work. There are triggers. It's not just about I went to the store, somebody pissed me off, right? It's about understanding yourself in a way that's so intimate that you, in the moment that you are triggered, realize I'm triggered. I need to take a moment. I'm triggered. I not take a moment, be in the moment.
Mm-mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Be in the moment.
You
and,
are
and
the
and be a
moment.
part of that moment and become the damn moment, because
Yes.
in that moment you can shift everything. You cannot manifest that love you want, you cannot get that money you desire if all you do is I know it, I don't need to heal, I know what I'm doing, all I want is answers to see if he loved me today. What? The reason why that person, I can guarantee you, half the people that ask you or ask me why a person isn't in their life, I can just about pinpoint in one conversation the reason why that person is not a part of your life. And a lot of times we want to call something in because we are unhealed and haven't done the shadow work. We don't
Ego.
see that person need to do shadow work. Say it
Ego.
again. Say it
Ego.
again. Ego.
Ego.
It's the ego. You see what I'm saying? So now you calling in a person based off ego, and that motherfucker unhealed, and now they in your face, and the relationship go to shit again. So if you wonder why when you get with somebody, it goes around and that merry-go-round, the same shit repeats, it's because nobody's healing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's healing. So and even if you heal, understand if that person is not healed, you're gonna get the same shit you always got because they doing the same shit they always do.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be mindful of all of that. Hey, Matthew, welcome in, love bug. Michaela says, real question. How do you know if your third eye's open? What are physical symptoms?
So there are said to be many. I personally don't know if one's third eye is open or not, right? But I would say the question isn't so much about the third eye, right? Because the third eye, if it's open and there are other block chakras, that third eye,
Distorted vision.
yeah, right. So I don't want us to focus on the wrong things, if you will. Like, I want you to know how you feel all of your chakras being open. And that goes back to that feeling good, if you will. You feeling the alignment, like you knowing the alignment. There's an order of operation, knowing, feeling, thinking, doing. And we do the opposite. We do, then we think, then we feel, then we know, right? Just
Right.
ass backwards. Right. And so going within, we talk about like the third eye being the pineal gland. And there is calcification there, which is crystallization, if you will. And crystals carry energy. And so there's a thought that you want to break all those crystals off. I don't necessarily know if that's true, right? Because I haven't. That's just, I want all my shit open. I want to be open book. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I like, if anything that I want open, it's my heart. Right now, I work from my heart chakra, right? Because love cures all. The heart knows the way. That's, like, so the third eye being open, and God knows I've been in LA and I've Ramdam and all these, like I've meditated and had a dharma and Joshua tree, right? Like, like really great stuff. But I also saw how third eyes were open and how it was still superficial, right?
Ooh.
Because the work was the third eye, and then everything was about gaining the material things and not showing up as a loving being. And so I just want, I hope I probably didn't answer your question, right? But it's okay. I still love you. And I call you to focus on your heart versus your third eye.
I think what she might have been speaking to is like physical symptoms. So,
like, I don't
Michaela,
even
you do feel sensations in those areas when they open up. Any chakra produces a sensation, right? So the same sensation you feel in your third eye would be the same you would feel in the heart chakra if you open it. Some people explain it as a humming, a buzz, a tingle, but there's movement. You feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's no difference than when the hair raises up off your hand or your arm. You feel that. So it comes across in different ways. Other ways may be a light headband pressure. I've heard people say that. Those are what they call ascension symptoms, not necessarily opening up chakras, but it just means that you are spiritually ascending and there are physical impacts for that.
Can I add one symptom that
go ahead.
I feel like I did kind of feel before as I was doing this Ramdam exercise, but it incorporated yoga, breath work, chanting, and it can be like a, I didn't know if it was the yoga. I was about to pass the hell out. It was like a fire being shot up because we were doing the breath of fire. And so that was to raise the kundalini, which is a part of the third eye opening. And so that's why I say it's very hard to answer that question because like so many things work in tandem, right? Not just when the third eye opens, the kundalini rises. And I think that's more of the symptoms I felt, right? And my heart wasn't open then. And so like, I was just out doing stuff, living up here and not in a grounded sense. And so, yeah, it was more the kundalini rising. I felt the fire.
The fire,
Yeah, the unleashing of that snake energy wrapped around my spine, if you will.
You know what? You bring up a very valid point when I think about it. I think from this discussion, what I am coming to the realization of is that although people feel very similar symptoms, I think it might be a little different for everybody depending on where you are in your journey and what chakras you have already aligned and open. Right?
And working on also.
And working on too. Because to his point, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm opening up my third eye. But if your heart chakra not open up, then you have no empathy on this journey. You see what I'm saying? If your sacral chakra is blocked, then you ain't buzzing on nuts. I'm just saying, don't get all bent up and don't get your panties and your pearls in a bunch.
Yeah.
But you just that would be. That's what it be. The stuff is blocked. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember to hit that like button. We appreciate you. But Sweet says people are still looking for the program and the instruction for their journey, especially when they first start. But as you go along, you do not allow others to direct their path. So that is true and untrue. I think the true part of it is you don't ever allow people to direct your path. And you're
Without
right.
discernment.
Without discernment. Thank you. There it is. There it is. So you will always have, just like, in a lot of spiritual teachings or belief systems, you hear about these great teachers, and they help people find their way. Mm-hmm. I think the sign of a great spiritual mentor in any belief system is one who understands that it's not for you to come here and stay stuck. Me and the light were talking about this earlier. I don't ever want y'all to have to come to me for 5, 6, 7, 8 years for readings. That shit is asinine. At that point, it's a material thing and it's about the money. But my desire to have classes and courses that teach you how to move on your own, that's from a place of love. That's from a place of intuition. That's from a place of connection to source. You see where I'm going? That's from a place of speaking out loud and living out loud. You see where I'm going with this? That's from a place of the center of
being in relationship with yourself, right?
Thank
and
you.
Who you are and what you create, what you can create. It's that intimacy. It's a level of intimacy with yourself.
That's and right. I think when we start to see that we're in relationships where we crave the intimacy, you then have to look at, what am I giving to myself? You know what I'm saying? Yes, I want a relationship. I want a very loving and happy one. But the fact that I keep meeting people like the evolution doula that I can just hold hands and skip down a damn street with, baby, I'm perfectly satisfied after that shit. And it made me realize what I'm craving is not a relationship. It's not physical touch. It's intimacy. Mm-hmm. The willingness and the softness to open up and be vulnerable and to be authentic and to meet someone else who is vulnerable and authentic. You see what I'm saying? So nobody's going to be perfect, but it's the level of authenticity that draws you in. It's the level of authenticity that you tend to, it's always what you think is authenticity that you fall in love with, is what I'm saying, when it comes to another being. And to his point, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And my experience with being able to astral project and speak to myself, which is a recent gift, I've learned that this body, this meat suit, has a consciousness, but it has no motion without the soul. It does not get up and walk and talk without the soul, but it has consciousness to be programmed, to be spoken to understand. Like
it's a body of water.
Thank you. Thank you. There we go. Water is definitely a living, breathing thing. If you don't believe me, get you a cup of water every morning for 2 weeks. Speak a certain want or desire into that cup of water and immediately drink it down as fast as you can for 2 weeks and watch it come. It'll come one way or the other.
And like if you structure your water, right? Like, because oftentimes the water that we drink is dead and stale. And so when we think about our lives and when we're feeling stuck and stagnant, if you're not creating motion with your water, like pouring it in one glass out of another, letting it get sunlight, if you're not speaking to it, if you're not writing on your glass jar, whatever it is, right? Not drinking out of the right things, right?
Right.
Drinking out of plastic or styrofoam is affecting your vibration. Every choice that we make, even when it's on automatic, is influencing something. And is it influencing your vibration to rise or to fall?
I agree 100%. 100%. I'm going to get to the next question. I'll see y'all out there. We ain't forget about you, babies. We coming back. Okay, so the next question is... Oh, wait. Okay, there she is. Jess. Is it possible to be triggered, dislike someone's actions, and not be operating from the ego, or is it everything ego based? So that depends on how you look at ego, because the way that I have experienced ego is ego can be one of several things.
Can I just ask one question? Who the fuck are you to like or not like?
Now that's true.
That's coming from the ego.
So that's why I said it depends on how you look at it.
It's like if you're talking about liking or not liking, like it's coming from ego.
That's ego. Yeah. So anytime, and that depends again. That's why I said depends on how you look at it. Now, folks will tell you, well, you got the right to like or dislike something. You do, but now when it comes to another person,
Yeah. Like,
because
why
you
do you
don't have to deal
care?
with it. Yeah,
That's
why do
control.
you care? That's the
That's
ego.
control. Like,
Right.
you know.
So you said it. What I was gonna say was I always explain y'all ego from two different places of control. The part of control that says I'm gonna do what I want and have a problem with whatever I don't like, even if it has nothing to do with me, it doesn't impact me, and it's not my business. And there's the other side of ego that says I will do anything to get people to give me a particular reaction, i.e., people pleasing is a place of ego. You're doing it because you want a reaction. You're doing it because you feel some type of way and you want to feel a certain way. So whenever you operate from a place of control, that's ego.
Which is fear, technically. When you want to
Yes,
control
it's
something, it's
something
fear.
about it that is fearful. So, for
Yeah.
example, somebody say something you don't like. Now, what I've learned on this spiritual journey is you have the right to choose not to fight. You can lay that down and walk away. However, what we tend to do is go, I don't like what you did, why you do what you did, blah, 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 and start an argument.
See, that go that why, y'all, but you ain't heard it from me.
That part. But that why. And then next thing you know, it's an argument because the
Or
reality
fight.
is, or fight. And the reality is, it's always it always comes from a place of ego. And let me tell you something about ego. Ego is not bad and it's not good. There's a time and a place for it. Dislike something and express it when it's being done to you. You see what I'm saying? Not just their actions in general, but what they have acted upon against you. Now, at that point, you have a right to say, hey, I don't like what you did to me. But it has to be to me on the end. Does that make sense? Like I see people all the time on TikTok. Well, such and such got up there and said, whatever. I ain't like that. It's not for you to like. If you don't like it, skip it and keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the conversation of ego, you really have to define the word ego. You know what I'm saying? But everything's based in some type of ego.
Yeah, I would say it's already defined, right? If you will. It's just to see where your image is showing up in the ego, right? To see, like, why is this even bothering me? Like, because if something and someone doesn't matter, don't let them.
I agree.
Right.
She said,
And just one other thing is also um, remember that you're the observer, and and things aren't to you, right? It may be a message for you. We don't always like what's good for us. Like
that's
grandma
true.
used to line us up and give us cod liver oil and all this other shit. Nobody want that. Right? Like we don't like the girls are like the bad boys, if you will, right? Like we don't always want what's good for
Good
us,
for us. I
right?
say.
We want what we want
That's right.
until
And
we
that's out
don't
of
want
ego.
it no more, right? And that's ego. And because we ain't asking our bodies, and we like we're talking about how to get to find out who you are. You asking yourself what it is that you want and having discernment. You don't know because you don't even know who you are. So who are you asking or hoping and praying to? You praying to this other God that you don't know, right? You are God, right, in a sense. And how do you go into that still room, that little still room, and listen for your higher self to give you the intelligence that you need to go forward, i.e., spirit.
Correct. I mean, y'all hear me say it all the time. When they say God made you in his image, what does that mean? That means you are God. In
Or
the
if
likeness.
or if God, you say walk around saying God is your father, Abba and Baba and all this, right? It's in your DNA.
It's in your DNA. So it's
If you
literally
say it.
within you.
Unless you walk around lying and don't believe what you say. And see,
Now
that's where the
that's a
test of
damn
faith
problem
comes
too.
in.
That's gonna
Or
be the
it
next
ain't, but
episode.
it
The
ain't a problem.
lies.
It ain't a problem. It is alignment, right? Because
Correct.
it's people repeat what they hear and do
I,
what they see.
I
Ain't
see it.
nobody reading the Bible. Oh, go ahead.
That too. Though you
Mhm.
must do the work to heal and figure out what is best for you. Just my opinion, is this correct? Okay, sweet. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's saying two very opposite things. So I'm confused. So maybe I don't understand. Though you must do the work to heal and figure out what is best for you.
Yeah, yeah. I
No,
mean,
no,
I
no,
don't,
I
oh,
know her. Let her
okay,
explain what she asking. Sweet, what are you asking?
okay.
Said crystals work. Yes, just that's why crystals work. My heart is complete. Yes, God is Ashe.
My heart is complete too. Look at that.
And stomach, heart tingling, mind, body, soul. I know that's right, Matthew.
And,
Yes, it's almost like a high without getting hot. Correct. Okay.
mm,
They talking about past conversations.
and
Uh,
Kundalini, and not the bliss, Matthew, but just the whole blind.
nope, he ain't about to let me learn right now. So Kundalini, y'all, is very powerful. Kundalini is the rising. It feels like the rising of a phoenix to me.
Mm-hmm.
It is hot, but it's a release of energy that travels up the spine. I believe that's how most people would kind of express it. I didn't feel like it was something that hurt, but it was a sensation.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely a sensation.
Yeah,
For sure.
I didn't feel that it hurt either.
Oh, she said mentors and instructors are necessary for me anyway. I desire information and appreciate you all. Oh, you are most welcome. But I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Okay, hold up. There it is. Been there. So true. You right, Nanny. Let's see. Okay. Oh, it was a continuation from my last statement. Oh, it chopped up into two different pieces.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, I was confused. Sweet. Okay. That's what she was saying. People are still looking for the program and the instruction for their journey, especially with direct their path. Okay, is this true? I think we already pretty much answered that. So
Yeah.
yes.
But knowing that when you make a choice, that you are making that choice for me and for the rest of the collective. So understanding who you are matters.
Right.
So it's yes, and it's deeper than just you. You got to know who you are when you're speaking about you.
And I think also, sweet to your point, when I mentioned earlier the definition of words, and Evolution Doula said, well, it's already defined. The problem is some people don't realize the word ego is already defined. And what they rely on is society's depiction of the word. If you ever notice, the Webster's Dictionary add a new definition to each word every year because we change the meaning of the word depending on what's going on with social trends and culture. So, for example,
they find out.
right, what they found out back in the day, chill meant it was cold outside. Your ice was chilling your drink. In the 90s, chill meant to kick back, relax. In 2000, chill meant have a fucking seat or humble yourself. You see what I'm saying?
Real quick.
So when you go to the dictionary, like he said, the English language, in Shan's word, the Evolution Doula put it differently. But Shan will always say the English language is slutted out. It's so complex because we add definitions to everything and we change the definition depending on how we feel. What Evolution Doula is saying is, like Shan, like you've heard myself say, these words are already clearly defined. Instead of having conversations with people about what ego is, you go to the source and you look at the etymology of the word, and then you know what ego is. The history behind how it was first used is normally what the meaning of a word is.
And can I add to that? That
yes,
it ain't complex. It's actually meant to be confusing. And
right.
I think there's a difference there. It's meant to be spellbounding.
Correct. So that's why we use words and don't know what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And we place energies upon our life because we don't understand the actual meaning of the words that we use, which is why it's a whole programming process.
I don't know who you're talking about. But no, I'm just playing.
You know, I'm talking about the collective. You know, I don't dissect myself from the collective. I say we because, you know, if
I know,
you know what I'm saying.
I know. I'm playing words, right? Like, because they do matter. And having the courage to say, hey, what are we speaking? Like when this is the energy, because somebody speaks something over your life, it can create things. And so having that courage and that discernment to know, hey, wait, no, whatever. But all that to say, it's meant to be confusing, and to get to the not even understanding. Here we go with what again, confusion, right? Understanding, if you will, of the meaning behind words. You use the Strong's Concordance, if you will, and that can be Greek or Hebrew. Strong's Concordance, gematria, and also breaking numbers down into numerology. So it's more skills to learn to help you decode, and maybe even deprogram, and to understand what you're actually saying when you speak. Because languages is not our first language, if you will, or speaking is not our first language. Our first language is telepathic, right? You learn to communicate with your mother in the womb. Your mother knows a child's cry, right? And so that's from the heart or in the right hemisphere of your brain. But everything since birth is teaching you logic and reasoning, left side of the brain. And that's kind of where Buddha talks about being in the mind allows you to create illusions and delusions to support all the bullshit that you do out here in these
No, true words. He said the light said making decision for me in the collective as I decide. Is that what he said? I don't think so.
Mm-mm. I was just saying, as I believe what I was saying is just basically when we're speaking oftentimes, and this is what I teach in coaching, is to remember to use I statements, right? And when so much of speaking is also listening, remembering that. And so being an active listener so that you understand when if something's being spoken about you necessarily in a way that doesn't vibrate, it's also doing it about the collective. So when I pause people a lot of time, it's more when they're talking about everybody else, not even me. But because I believe in peace and love and harmony, I'm a Libra, and balance, right? So much that it is my practice to leverage words and be an energy that promotes what it is that I desire.
Right. So basically, speaking things into manifestation is in alignment with the word choices.
Yeah.
For example, someone who told me stop saying I'm trying. Because either you doing or you not. There's no real such thing as trying. But it also, the word trying brings the energy of I'm striving, but I'm not achieving yet.
Yeah. It's
so when you
acknowledging
want to shift
failure.
that energy to achieving, you say I am doing something instead of I'm trying to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
And it's acknowledging your efforts. Also, we walk around saying trying a lot. And what does trying really mean? Again, understanding the definition of words. What does it really mean?
Right.
You attempted? No, you did tie your shoe. You just were not successful.
Or you didn't do it the way everybody else does it.
And that's okay. And that's okay because all things work for your greatest good.
For your greatest good. Exactly. All right, y'all. We've been on here for 2 hours. Congratulations to the doula. We have had the longest Soul Sage Sunday episode. Yes, which meant it was good. It was good. Just said I like that. And Sweet said, okay, appreciation, Ashe. And with that being said, y'all, I appreciate everybody for coming in, for hitting that like button, friends, for being a part of this conversation, and for being engaging and asking questions. Because trust me, yes, we do it and we hope to continue to do it. You know what I'm saying? And for us to be able to bring other people on and compensate them for their time. And like the doula said, at the same time, we also want to make sure that people are engaged in the conversation, because it also helps us to figure out kind of where the collectives are or where the collective is in regards to the energy of how we understand where we are in our processes as far as a community as a whole, right? And these conversations are important. And also, the more we converse and have these conversations, the more you learn, the more we learn. Yeah. Because I never stop to think that sometimes it may be confusing when y'all go out and you have conversations with other people or other spiritualists and they use things, different terminology. But the more different ways it's explained, the easier it gets for you to see the alignment in what's being said over here or over there. You see what I'm saying? So
Discernment comes
discernment. That's why it's so important for you to be a part of these conversations and also see other people in the spiritual community interact. Because I believe, which I'll be seeing on TikTok and everywhere else, be a lot of catty, not in alignment, not trying to have empathy, not trying to really understand. And one of my favorite quotes is this: seek first to understand, then to be understood. You see what I'm saying? Number one, seek to understand yourself. Then seek to understand the people and the things around you. Okay, then you can expect to be understood because then you understand yourself. A lot of people want you to understand them, but they don't even understand themselves. And that's where we have to work through these conversations and have these types of settings where people can ask questions openly and not feel like, oh, somebody feel like I should know that. Because as you saw, when Michaela said something about the third eye, the doula was like, well, and I'm like, well, I understand what she's asking, but everybody experiences it differently. And sometimes we're just not aware of that. So you might be hearing stuff, Michaela, like, oh, I'm supposed to feel this or lightheaded and tingling. And it might come to you and not feel like shit. Because maybe yours was already open, friend. We don't know. You see what I'm saying? So it just really depends on the person. Sweet said, real good soul food. I say, baby, that's what we strive to do. That's what we strive to do. I need doula back like by tomorrow. Just we on here on Sundays. However, he is Evolution Doula and the Light over on TikTok as well. Please let the people know how they can find you and reach you, love bug.
Sure. I am _ because somebody else took my handle. I don't know who it is, but y'all find out and let me know. But _ Evolution Doula on TikTok, on YouTube, and on IG, if you will, Instagram. And so please come over. I've prepared things for you. I'm not usually live like God is here. She brought me into the world of living on social media. And but I really try to create both pictures and moments and using words and imagery to really take you somewhere else, even if for one moment, so that you can catch your breath from all the mental, physical, and spiritual chaos that is going on around us, that sometimes we don't have these little breaths of fresh air. So if you would, please go like, subscribe, share, and tell me what more to put out, right? Help me help you. That's what I'm here for.
_ Evolution Doula on all platforms. I've put it down in the comment section for everybody. I'll pop it up on the screen as well. There it is on TikTok, YouTube, and on Instagram, _ Evolution Doula. If you've been in my TikTok lives, you've probably noticed him there a few times. We plan on going live together soon. Y'all know all these apps got requirements and qualifications so you can go live. So please help friend get to the minimum requirement over on TikTok so that he can go live and we can go live over there together as well. But you will, you will find him on Instagram and YouTube as well as TikTok. So again, it's on the screen. It is _ Evolution Doula on all platforms. Ashe.
And Goddess, can I just say thank you, right? Like for creating this space and this time for hearts to be free, voices to be heard, and just keep doing this because it feels aligned. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that so very much. And please let me know. Well, we're going to be talking, but we need to figure out if you are returning next Sunday, maybe. If you have time, or the Sunday after that. But y'all know I will let y'all know what we're doing up on her because we're gonna leave you.
Comment and let me know if y'all want me back for real though. Like, because if y'all
that's what they're doing. They said for real though. They said
we need more. We need more. Tell your friend to come tell us. Tell your friend to watch and come tell us.
That's what I'm saying. So tell your friends. She said, sir, why you ain't posting over a year on YouTube? JK, I just subbed. We
See,
trying to get it together.
That's the community pressure that I need. Thank you.
You see that? Even the mentor is grateful for the lesson, Jess.
Yes.
Shout out to Jess for teaching the lesson today. I love it. I love it. But yes, we know we want him to come back. And it's going to be a great time when we get shared in the room as well and see the different dynamics together. Yes, because I get to feel it's going to be a real damn good time. Okay, it's going to be a great time now, a divine time, an amazing time, a funny, hilarious time. And so I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. And I hope to see you again on next Sunday. I will let Evolution Doula leave you all with some words of wisdom, right? And close us out, since this is a welcome home edition.
Remember to breathe. Life begins with breath. Life ends with breath. What are you doing with your breath in between? Remember that it creates oxygen for your brain to think clearly when you take a breath. So get in the practice of taking a breath before you respond to a question, before you react to an action. Just remember how important your breath is, because I know mine is in heavy use, changing energy all the time.
I love it. I love it. And just so y'all know, y'all will find this episode over on his platform. Don't worry, y'all. Y'all know how I do. I'll be sure to share it with him. So don't worry, Jess. We're going to have some up there tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right, Jess.
When it re-air, watch it over there too. You see what I mean? Help us both out. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, y'all know we love y'all to pieces. And so it's love, light, namaste, and ashe, and divine dreams, y'all. And Evolution Doula, thank you so much for coming, for being just an open sage for the tribe, for being willing to have the conversations and to be so open and loving, and also for just being authentically you. So with that,
it's easy to choose me. So thank you, but it's easy.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I tell y'all. Jess says good night, tribe. Sweet says namaste. All right, everybody. Love, light, namaste, and ashe. And we'll see y'all next Sunday. I will be posting up details on the community page about the upcoming week, the SIP, all that good stuff. All right, all right. And just know that you are everything and anything you desire to be. Ashe.
And enjoy the space between y'all.
The space in between. That's right, baby. Good night, Tina Lee. All right, y'all. Good night. Bye, everybody.